Hey, Texas Study students. This is Coach Science, welcoming you back to another one of our video lesson. Today's video lesson is chapter 14.1 and Texas Secedes. Now, by the year 1860, the U.S. was clearly divided. That's why we have the title here, A Nation Divided, between northern and southern states. Now, here we see in this picture on the left, that's the Union. That's the northern states right here representing the United States flag. And this is the gray right here, the grays right here representing the Confederate side, which is the Confederate flag, which we'll be talking about a little later. Now, both sides were willing to fight for what they believed in, and this is what caused a division in the nation. Now, here in this map that we're about to shows us the United States in the year 1860. Now, if we look at our legend, the green represents the free states, and the orange represents the slave states. So the northern states, which are here represented in green, were for the illegal practice of slavery. That means they did not want to practice slavery. And in the orange, the South down here wanted slavery for their business. This is what was dividing the nation and what caused them to be willing to fight for their beliefs. Now, by the year 1860, there were two political parties in the United States. All right. The first one we're going to talk about is the Republican Party. Now, the Republican Party was formed in the year 1854 with the goal of stopping the westward spread of slavery. Now, by trying to stop the westward spread of slavery, what group do you think this was? Well, it was the North. That's exactly right. It was the Northerners that wanted to stop the western spread of slavery. Now, if you remember, people in the North believed that practices like this here, whipping and beating of the slaves to do exactly what you needed them to do, which was to farm or anything like that, was just morally wrong. Plus, the North did not need slaves for their industries and their factory work up there. Now, also, Republicans also supported higher tariffs that would benefit American industry. Now, a tariff, as you can see there, is a tax placed on imported or exported goods. Now, a tax placed on imported and exported goods. What does that mean? Now, here we have the map, right? Now, what that means is that things coming in from Europe, as we can see here, things that were manufactured goods, if you can see it there, that were being sent to the United States would be taxed on. Also, which is manufactured goods and luxuries. Also, from the Caribbeans, all right, that means slaves, sugar, molasses that were being sent into the United States would be taxed on. Also, if they were to send anything from the U.S. to either way, it would be taxed on them. So that what the Republicans were trying to do, what the North was trying to do, was they were trying to make money, more money, and trying to force people to not buy as many things from England and from the Caribbeans, but really trying to have them focus on the things that were being manufactured in the North for them to stay at home and buy from within here so that people can, and the economy in the North could boom. And, also the United States can boom altogether instead of having to depend altogether on these two areas in those two countries. Now, the second political party was the Democratic Party. Now, most Texans were Democrats who feared that Republicans would destroy the Southern economy that depended on slavery and foreign trade. Now, foreign trade was the fact when they would trade with European countries, and the Democratic Party did not want to ruin those relationships with those foreign trades from Europe and the Caribbeans. Now, if you remember, the Southern economy really depended on slavery because of the cotton trade, right? Now, remember, if cotton would be produced here, it would be sent out to Europe. In Europe, it would be turned into manufactured goods, which was clothing and things of that nature, and it would be sent to Africa, and then it would send be back here to where it would be sold. So, what the Democratic Party feared was that if the Republican Party, the North, got their way, there would be no more slaves to be able to boost the economy of the South, or even foreign trade to other countries where they would still be able to make money. So that is essentially what the Democratic Party feared, that they would be losing out on money if the Republicans would get their way. Another reason that caused major division between the North and the South was the fact that Southern Democrats also argued that the U.S. government should not have the power to decide whether to allow slavery in the states. So the main reason why another reason why they were fighting was known as the states' rights that we covered many chapters ago. All right. Now, while the Southerners believed this, the Northern Republicans argued that the U.S. laws, such as those forbidding slavery, applied to all the states, and no state should be exempt from it. So a quick recap on what the states' rights meant. Now, the Southern Democrats wanted the power for each individual state to pretty much agree to, we'll run this U.S. law or we won't run this U.S. law. But the Northern Republicans said, no, you're part of the United States, you have to abide to every law that the U.S. Enforces. Now, another boiling point for this controversy and the tensions between the North and the South was the election of 1860. Now, in the election of 1860, the Southern states threatened to secede. And remember, that's to withdraw formally from the United States if a Northern Republican became president in the 1860 election. Now, here we have the South in the orange and the green, which were the Northerners or the Republicans at the top. Now, what they were saying was that if a person from the North won the election, they would withdraw formally from the United States. Now, in the year 1860, the election was between one of the most famous and one of the most influential presidents of the United States, and that was Abraham Lincoln, and from the South, it was a man named John Breckinridge. Well, history students, as we all know, now Abraham Lincoln wins the election. In the year 1860 of the election, most Texans voted for Democratic John Breckinridge. Okay? Not one Texan voted for Republican Abraham Lincoln. Now, nevertheless, Abraham Lincoln won the election and became the 16th president of the United States, as we can see here. Now, with that, most Southerners feared that the South would be losing money and resources and slavery because of Abraham Lincoln winning the election. So one thing that they feared was that they would be losing slavery, and because of losing slavery, this would affect their economy. Now, once the election was finalized and the results of Abraham Lincoln came out, Southern states began to secede. Soon after the election, South Carolina becomes the first state to secede from the U.S. And here we see South Carolina right there. Right there. Now, within 6 weeks, 5 more Southern states secede. And they leave the United States, they leave the Union, and they themselves come together to form what's called the Confederate States of America. Now, this is their flag, and this is the flag that they chose to be their national flag as the Confederate States of America. So now our next question is, what exactly was Texas going to do as they saw that other southern states were beginning to secede? Now, Secession Convention of Texas happened on the January 28th of 1861. Texas delegates voted 166-8 for secession from the United States. That was a pretty big landslide vote to leave the United States, 166-8, pretty much letting people know that, hey, Texas wants to leave the United States. Now, very few Texan citizens voted against this move. Now, here in this map, you can see exactly who voted for secession, which counties voted for secession, and which counties in Texas did not want secession. The secession being leaving the United States in orange, and deciding to stay with the United States in blue. Now, as you can see on the map, some states are fully unanimous that they do want to leave the United States. South Carolina, North Carolina, and there's some states like Texas that have white areas, which is undecided or did not return, or the purple, which is divided, right? Now these southern states are coming together to form the Confederate States of America, and this is what leads us into the U.S. Civil War between the North and the South. Now, within leaving the United States, Texas now has to change its constitution. Now, the new constitution had to be changed in this way. Now, the Texas Constitution, it changes constitution from that of the United States. It used to say in the beginning at the United States, but it had to change to the Confederate States of America, as you can see here. Right? Now, the new Constitution of 1861 defended states' rights, and it defended slavery as well in it. Now, in all of this, you're probably asking, where is our great hero, Sam Houston? Now, he's still governor at this time. But when Sam Houston refused to pledge loyalty to the Confederate States of America, he was removed as governor of Texas. Now, he did not want no part of the Confederate South. He knew, and he tried to tell the people of Texas, that if we join the Confederate of America, the Confederate South of America, then bad things will happen to us. We will eventually lose the war, and our economy in Texas will plummet and will not be successful. Now, most people did not want to hear that. That's the reason why they kicked him out of office. Now, upon being removed as governor of Texas, Sam Houston left Austin, the capital, and settled in his steamboat house in Huntsville, Texas. Now, the reason it's called a steamboat house is because it was built long like a steamboat, as you can see here in this picture. Now, he passed away, or he died here in this very house on July 26th of 1863. Now, he passed away because of the sickness of pneumonia, right? And he was 70 years old. 70 years old. Now, as he was passing away with his wife next to him, historians have said that his deep love for Texas was said all the way until his last words, where he said to his wife, "Texas, Margaret, Texas." Those were his last words on his deathbed to his wife, just continuing to show the deep love and passion he had for the state of Texas. Now, this concludes our video lesson on chapter 14.1, Texas Secedes. Make sure that you like my YouTube channel, Coach Signs Altogether, that you like it and you subscribe. Now, this is Coach Signs, signing out.